Hey, what's up, everybody? We're here on Inside the Circle, throwing a little pivot this week. Got some awesome people wanted to bring on the show and just talk about the state of youth football, what youth football looks like here in Southern California, and what is the ultimate goal of picking a youth football program, the community of a youth football program, and what it takes to go and make the transition from youth football to high school football. So I'm your host, Jordan Campbell. I'm here with JB. I'm here with Mr. Tim, and I'm here with Coach Coco. Everyone has a great background and a lot of good stories, not only being involved with the youth level, but also the transition to high school and college, whether it's himself or also for their kids. Kind of just want to start out, just everybody introduce yourself, where they're from, what's their role here with the Corona Bulls, and also kind of what other programs they coached at.
My name is Coach JB, born and raised in Orange County. My purpose here, I coached the 12U Corona Bulls, coached the OG Ducks previously, 11U, as well as the Dream Chasers on my older boys team. Right now I reside in Oceanside, California, where we built the Oceanside Monarchs 2-3 years ago. And, just been on that long journey with the youth and got a lot more years ahead of me. So I'm excited to be here. Well,
thank you, Coach.
I'm Tim Ioane from Tustin, California. Played ball in Tustin, played some college. And 2008, our oldest son was, interested in playing football. So we took him on the journey. Started with Riverside Pop Warner, where I now reside. Been there for about 15 years now.
Nice.
And throughout the years, I've had some roles with the Oceanside Monarchs, the OG Ducks. Our son, Big John, came up through the OG Duck program. And now here we are at Winter Circle and serving as the team GM.
Awesome.
How you doing? I'm Coach Coco Harin. I'm one of the youngest guys here in the room here. But I've been coaching for about 47 years, and I started out, I'm originally from San Diego, Sweetwater High. We like to say that that's the heart of all football right there. So I've been around high school ball, started off doing Pop Warner back in National City, went to Sweetwater, my alma mater. I played there, and then I also coached there. Then from there, started to do some JC football. Then from there, my wife and our family, we relocated up here to Los Angeles, and that's when I got hired on at Mount San Antonio College. I did about 14 years with the JCs and about 10 years with the Division IIIs. And when I finished with the Division III, I got lucky and hooked up with Centennial Football with Matt Logan, and I was one of his consultants for about 5 years. And then upon finishing up, I got an offer to come over here to Winter Circle and help put in a defense for them to travel to Dallas. And with that, Jordan invited me to go to Dallas with them. And so I like to say for about a year and a half, I've been a part of the Winter Circle program, and now I'm the director of football operations, and couldn't land in a better spot right now in my life. So I would say that Winter Circle is a blessing for me here.
I appreciate that, Coach. And for the people out there, a lot of people know about Winter Circle. If you came to Winter Circle, right, not a lot of people do, whether you see it on social media or Facebook or whatever goes on, Winter Circle's been around for about 10 years now. People hear about Winter Circle, but they really don't know about Winter Circle unless you're part of the program. I've seen Big Tim coaching youth football for a while. His son, John, was amazing football player, and he stuck out since 10 years old. He was a giant, now at Tustin High School, national recruit. And I met JB probably 4 years ago when he started the Monarchs, and God works in mysterious ways. He brings people in and out your life and things like that. And I've been praying for a great group of people to start the Corona Bulls with. And out of nowhere, we were able to connect with JB, which then brought Tim in. Coach Coco, he was able to come in about a year and a half ago. And if you don't know about Winner's Circle, you could only see kind of what's on the outside looking in. You really don't understand the relationships and kind of what the inner workings are of Winner's Circle. It's just kind of, you see it on social media. You don't know. It looks like a facility, whatever. But it's been awesome, not only to meet you guys through passing for years, but I know last year I was with the Ducks. I was their 14U coach. You were coaching over there. You've been with a huge staple in the program for the Ducks for a long time. And our ultimate goal building the Corona Bulls, right, is to create a one-stop shop for the football players that come through our youth football program, to be able to help them go from youth to high school to college, but also to create a community, somewhere where you could go and you could have a family-oriented place. You could be around the right people, not just to win youth football trophies, but to be able to be around like-minded people and to be able to give these kids everything that they possibly want, that they're going to need on their journey. And that's where obviously me and JB connected, coaching with the Ducks last year, and him coming over to our program. It's awesome to see not only the talent that you've brought to the Corona Bulls, but also the coaching knowledge, but also the family atmosphere, So it's awesome to see what you guys are bringing and creating this culture that we want here at not only Winner's Circle, but for the Corona Bulls. What is that culture that you guys really established that allowed you guys to create the Monarchs, and have a successful program, but also to be able to put the best 11U team together last year and be able to have your family and your parents in your program trust you as you come over to Corona Bulls?
Well, I think a lot of it is, coaching youth football is bigger than the X's and O's.
Yes.
It's always amazing to have high-level coaches that have played in the NFL, college, D1, but being able to really translate that to kids, that's the big game changer.
Yeah.
And understanding not every kid is the same. Not every family is the same. The dynamics of the household. So I think being able to understand those core values, that's what we build with these parents and the trust. My main thing when I talk to the parents is, look, I would never put your kids in something that I wouldn't put myself or my kid in. And that statement alone, could say a lot.
Yeah.
And it brought us from Monarchs, even when we used to play at Oceanside Pop Warner, when I first moved out to Oceanside. And those families have stayed with me throughout. And, it's a big responsibility that I take serious.
Yeah.
So when they're asking me, hey, what's the next move? I'm doing my research at home, making sure that they're in the right position to get what they need for their kids, and it's the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And the other thing is just the resources. The resources was the biggest thing for us. That's why we built the platform, the Oceanside Monarchs.
Yeah. Because it seems like you create such a great community and family environment, and I know Tim's always done that with the Ducks, whether it's the luau's or just the college visits or just the family environment,
Correct.
And you really don't get that a lot of places, whether it's Junior All-American, Pop Warner, whatever team you have, you go there. And the hardest thing I see when you're not in a community program, meaning your local rec ball,
Correct.
You're from Norco, so you support Norco no matter what, or Corona or Oceanside or LA, whatever team you're from. But to go and create a program like we do, right? We're cutting kids and we're trying to find the right kids, not the best kids. So it really comes down to, right, what culture are you trying to create and what's the community environment that you want to establish to create a community within a community,
Correct.
Right? Because we're from Corona, you're from Riverside, you're from Oceanside, you're from LA, So I always say, whenever we put a football program together at Winner's Circle, whether it was us coaching with the Ducks last year, the Eastveld team, the Norco team, a lot of the kids that follow us and parents that follow us to those programs aren't from those communities.
Correct.
Right? So it takes us a little bit longer to get things going because we're taking kids from 40 different backgrounds and walks of life, and we're trying to create a community within a community, right? And the coolest thing I seen as we brought you guys on and partnered with you guys is you already have that community environment, right? So it's a lot easier to add pieces to the puzzle to create that team, because it doesn't matter if you have a bunch of great athletes. That doesn't mean you're a team, right? And same thing with the organization. If you're adding a bunch of players, you can have a bunch of good players, but how do you create an organization that feels like they're a community, they're a part of something bigger than just X's and O's, right? And that's what really attracted to me to you guys was you guys really understood the importance of creating a positive environment, creating a community, you know, and you've done a great job with doing that. So kind of what are the things you do to be able to gel kids together and families from all different walks of life?
Communication.
Yeah, right.
Communication is key. You know, and action speaks louder than words.
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest thing. You know, just my background playing youth sports and then going to modern day, it's really turned my whole life around. You know, as far as just the coaching knowledge, you definitely got to have some knowledge in the game, and the parents see everything. You know, you can only do so much and BS with these parents. Like,
Yeah.
you're gonna get exposed if you don't know what you're doing. So, one, just knowing enough knowledge and just being honest with these parents, letting them know, hey, if you know it, if you know the answer, you do. If you don't, you know, don't try to make something up just so you can keep the kid and make the team, because eventually what happens after that, the team will start to fall apart. So, you know, I always leave it in God's hands. You know, if the intent is not pure, don't do it. It's not worth it. And that's just how I've been living my life and brought it to the football.
And to that point, for us, integrity has been a big thing. You know, there's no amount of money you can place on the trust that you have with each other and with the relationships you built with the family. So trust, getting the parents to buy in. We've learned a major lesson in these years of trial and error with the Monarchs and such that we're looking to recruit parents and families more so than just a player. Because like you said, you can have all the talent in the world, but if you can't trust the family to have your back, you know, after a loss
and that's when you really get tested, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And that really, the first loss is when, you know, shit hits the fan.
You get to see what you have.
And, you know, pardon my French, but that's when, you know, people get uncomfortable and, you know, they start to speak their mind a little bit. So, you know, you look for parents that are willing to trust the process.
Yeah.
And, you know, through that, we've been able to have a good core of parents that will follow you to no end because they know that our intentions are pure, that we're going to put their kids in
trophy
the best
or not,
situation.
wins or losses,
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
And, you know, a big thing that a lot of these parents overlook is, you know, they don't look at themselves in the mirror and ask themselves, is my kid getting ready for the next level? Because the rings are nice. The trophies are nice to have. But when they get to high school, when they have to answer to that coach cursing them out, mommy and daddy's not going to be able to save them
For
at that
sure.
point.
No.
And they don't want to hear the parents saying, oh, don't cuss at my kid. Why isn't my kid playing this and that and the other? And, you know, just from a parent standpoint, my wife and I, we made a very big decision with Big John. We left the Ducks. For
And I wanted to touch into that, right?
And, you know, I'll be honest, like, it was nice to have him in front of that stage, and he dominated thanks to his God-given ability.
Yeah.
But he started the Ducks 14U as an 11-year-old, turned 12 later that year. But in the 2 or 3 years he was on 14U, he never got better.
Yeah.
And as a parent, I have to answer for that. If I send him to high school and he's not ready to play 3 technique or tackle like he's been, you know, training to do, then that failure falls upon myself. And that's what a lot of parents are overlooking is, you know, the fact that they're failing their kids by chasing the clout and, you know, ditching the development.
Yeah.
Our big thing is making sure these kids are ready to go play wherever they want. That was the vision with the Monarchs, was to have these kids be able to choose where they want to go to high school, including Trinity, and do it for free because they've been
100%.
trained at a high level. So,
And
you know,
sorry to cut you off, but I always say it's easy to look good when you have the best 11 kids on the football field, right? Meaning, if you're a quarterback and you got the best linemen, best receivers, best running back, of course you're going to look great. But you've never really been challenged through adversity. You've never been the guy who didn't have the pieces around you. And those leadership skills, you really never got to see those or develop those. And adversity is what's going to develop those skill set, right? Or develop the character of who your athlete is. And what I watched you do, right? Because your boy's had scholarships since he was 12 years old. You know, he was the poster boy. He was bigger than everybody. You had the chances to play for the Ducks, but also you had the chances to go to IMG. You had the chance to go to Mater Dei, Bosco, all these schools. So it says so much about you and your family and where your vision is at to go to a Tustin, right? A public school. You're alumni. You played at Tustin. It's in Orange County. There used to be a powerhouse program. Deshaun Foster was there. Frosty Rucker was there. You know, there's so many guys that used to come out of Tustin, but now those kids would go from that should go to those schools, the Villa Parks or the Tustins. They'll go now and sit the bench at a Mater Dei. Right. And they'll sit the bench at these Trinity League schools. And it's like, it doesn't matter if you're always tell people, I don't know where my high school championships rings are. It's cool in the moment, but those never got me a job. They didn't get me a scholarship. What got me a scholarship and what got me where I needed to go was the experience by playing and being around the right people to be able to develop me. And you took your kid who could have went to any high school in the country, who you chose to go to a public school that was a lower level program and go possibly one day go beat the Mater Deis, right? And I had a chance to either go to Norco or go to Centennial, right? And I went to Centennial and they had the talent, everything was there. And I went to Norco and it's like I could add to the piece of that. I could add to Centennial and be a piece to their program, or I could be a guy at Norco who goes both ways and I could go take down Juggernaut, David versus Goliath, right? And I was the type of kid who said, I want to go beat the Juggernaut, right? I want to go versus Goliath. And you did that with your boy, was saying we could go and build something from scratch, go to Tustin, and go one day as you go through his career, and you could play the Juggernauts and possibly be the team that everyone remembers that knocked off Goliath, right? And so many parents, I feel these days, want to just be another pawn, a part of a super team, not realizing that's not going to get your kid where he really wants to go. And I give you kudos to that. Like when I heard your boy was going to Tustin, it's like, dang, he had every school in the country. But that takes something special to know that we want to go take down Goliath versus just being another piece of the puzzle.
No, absolutely. And I thank you for that. But, you know, for us, it was about getting on the field immediately and getting 100%. That film reel. The colleges won't see you and recruit you if you don't have film. Right?
Can't get recruited if you don't have film, parents.
Absolutely. And so from that standpoint, we knew that we could step on the field at Tustin, compete at a high level. John had, you know, enough of a buzz to bring some friends along with him that trusted. And the main component was having, much like myself and JB, a system in place that existed there. So we have Sam Baker, one of the brightest minds in
best. Yeah, I play with him at SC. Exactly. Dad is Mr. Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
You know.
And so, you know, from an X and O standpoint, him and Coach Lopez and Seahawk is another SC guy like yourself. We knew that, you know, they had the system in place. And so once we started getting, you know, higher level athletes there, then it was only a matter of time.
Coach them up.
Exactly.
Like you don't got to go to these top D1 schools to get coached up, you know?
Exactly.
And nothing against them. It's just like I hear people say, well, if you don't go D1, you can't get recruited. And it's like, you guys are clueless. Look how many guys are getting recruited to Division I schools from public schools, smaller public schools, you know? And like you said, you can't get recruited unless you have film. Right. And a lot of people argue with me and say, well, you got to go here to get developed, or you have to get film early. All good film isn't good film. Right. But if you're getting good film and you're getting developed by that coach who's a Sam Baker, a first round draft pick, I'm getting good film early, plus I'm getting developed. And then there's some schools you might go to Yorba Linda. I get it. Yeah, you can play as a freshman there, but you're not going to get developed. Right. But Tustin is a different program where you surrounded him by the pieces that will allow to develop him as a football player, but also a program he could go and build and flourish in.
Exactly. And, you know, so that's the main component of why we're so excited to be here, because you've allowed us that opportunity to kind of step in and, you know, kind of fill the same capacity with our kids that we've done over the 100%. Years. And it goes, you know, back to the trust. You know, a lot of people, you know, you touched upon it earlier. A lot of people don't know about Winner's Circle.
Yeah.
And, you know, for myself, there, you know, if I'm being honest, there was a little trepidation about coming over, but we had a conversation. And even like one of my best friends, Sam Baker, he told me, hey, they've got a big history of developing major athletes. And that's the one thing you can't argue with. You know, some of the names that you've put out from this academy, you got Samurai and Kingston, just to name a few.
Yeah.
And so when you look at it from that aspect in terms of, you know, the ability that you have to develop the kids here, and then you throw in the trust factor, I think it starts to sort itself out a little bit.
Thank you.
And, you know, that's why, you know, I'm a major supporter of this. You don't know what you don't know.
For
you know
sure,
what I mean? And to be able to come on firsthand and see the family community and the high level of football IQ here is very impressive. I mean, if we're being honest, this is one of the few places where you have actual college and NFL guys that have played at the highest level that are on the field with the kids, you know, taking them under their tutelage and teaching them, you know, like Coco, he's there every day.
Yeah.
And you know, detailing everything down to the minor detail, whether it be on film or on the field. It's very impressive, and so we feel very much at home.
That's awesome.
So thank you for that.
And I know for Coco, for us at Winter Circle, even before the Corona Bulls, what really took our football program to the next level, we've always done classroom sessions with the kids. That's part of the kind of their practice script, right? We have Mental Monday, where we watch the film on the opponent we just played and then who we're playing next. We have Competition Tuesday. Right, that's kind of I took the script from SC, right? Then you have just kind of each day there's a theme of what we're trying to get after, right? Mm-hmm. And when Coco first came in, he's like, we got to start doing Zoom meetings. It's like, these kids can't do Zoom meetings. They got to be in a classroom. They got to do this. And he's like, no, Jordan, like, I'm telling you, I always tell parents, like, we take the ceiling off the growth and we throw everything at them possible, but we never really did the Zoom meetings because we can't sit there and micromanage. Are they taking notes? Do they know how to take notes? So we've always done it in the classroom. And Coco came in and implemented Zoom meetings when he first came into our program. And that's really where I seen a lot of our football players' IQ go off the charts more than they were at. And I would get calls from high school coaches like, man, we were doing Zoom meetings for 4 verts because you can't meet every day, you know?
Correct.
You only have two practices a week, and the other days they have to do Zooms. And he's like, I just can't thank you guys enough for getting our kids ready for the just their body language on Zoom meetings, you know, them asking questions, them knowing how to take notes, how they're watching film, not just watching just to watch and watching their position, but understanding the whole game of football, you know, and their body language. And Coco, you could kind of touch base on the importance of Zoom meetings and what you do with us. And I think that's really what set our program apart these last couple of years.
Yeah, we the Zoom thing came about because of COVID. So when it was COVID, we weren't able to get in touch with our kids. Mm-hmm. So I felt okay along with Huddle that the Zoom things can be pretty nice. So we started to do it at Centennial with at first I started to do it with the linebackers, and then the whole defense started to Zoom, and then I started to also Zoom with a lot of kids that I was training with my Take and E business. And they started to catch on. But one of the best things I liked about it was their parents were able to have trust in what we did. And before we did any Zoom, even when we did it here at Winter Circle, I wanted parents on. That way they can hear that we weren't cursing. It was going to be completely proper. And then I would invite, like, I had Tony Jefferson on a few of the Zooms themselves. And one of the things that he was impressed with was the way the kids postured themselves. Yeah. You know, the light was on, and he says that's really important because in today's world, Zooms are going to be a way that they're going to recruit, and you never know who's going to be on there.
Correct.
So we really made sure that our kids were centered of attention. They got to be able to see exactly where they were on the screen. They weren't no one laying down. We talk about getting your, the light on you, taking proper notes, wearing a shirt.
All that matters.
Yeah, no do-rags, none of that stuff, because down the road,
no
the Zooms might be a way that they're going to get a scholarship out of high school because of the way they posture themselves. So we just took it and we rode with it. And by rolling with it, our kids ended up being, like Jordan would say, kind of obsessed with Zooms, where I started to do, like some kids, we Zoomed over like close to 50 to 100 times.
Yeah.
Because they just all wanted to be in it.
And just to tap on a story sorry to cut you off, yeah. The most embarrassing thing for me was when I went to college and we got on front of the board with our linebacker coach, Ken Norton Jr., and I have Ray Maualuga, Kaluka Maiava, Keith Rivers, Clay Matthews, Brian Cushing, 5 first-round draft picks that are vets on the team, right? I told you this story, and it's all the rookies come, they say, show us what you know, right? So Coach Norton says, hey, draw up an over front, right? Under front, 31-13. Simple football, even front. And in high school, my coach used to just say strong right, strong left, or blue is cover 3, red is this, right? Gave us colors, like handicapped us. And that's fine. Everyone has colors, but what is the coverage?
Correct.
Right? And I go in there, it's like, all right, what do you guys run? Blue. And it's like, what is blue? My assignment on blue was, as an outside linebacker, curl flat. But there's so many things in front of that.
Exactly.
And for me to be the number 3 linebacker in the country coming out of high school and going and winning back-to-back CIF championships, and it's like I was good, but I could have been so much better if I had the football IQ. And there's so many kids that transition to high school and college that still don't know how to get on the whiteboard and draw up their defense. They'll tell you what their responsibility is, but you have to see a lot, but you have to see a little. Right, you have to see the whole defense, and that will allow you to play the game so fast. And it was so embarrassing having Oos get paper wads and thumb at the back of my head as I'm looking at the whiteboard, hoping the answer just shows up there. And it's like, come on, bro, you don't know what an over front is, an under front, an odd front. So for us, I took it to heart because I never want kids to feel. You know, you have those feelings as you go through your career where it's like, oh, shit, I'm not as good as I thought. You know, not from a combine standpoint or just playing football, being an athlete, but like I have to be able to get up and communicate with people. And you see that at the NFL Combine. You have to go as the NFL Combine and break down your defense and communicate with the coach and the adjustments. And when we started our football program, we always did classroom stuff because I knew that was the part I was missing. And I used to argue with Coach Norton. He's like, it's 90% mental, 10% physical. And it's like, bro, you're lying. Why are we benching, we're squatting, we're deadlifting, we're doing combine numbers if it's just 10% physical? And he's like, I could take a kid who has a little bit less talent than you, but he knows how to be in the right place at the right time, and I'm going to play him because I could trust him. And then I could take you, who has all the athletic ability in the world, and if I say we're running a toss to the right and you go to the left, I can never get you the ball to even run the toss because you're going the wrong way.
Correct.
Right? And that's the shitty part about youth sports. Go ahead. We all have stories on that.
Well, just to tie into that, that's a highly underrated part of youth football nowadays.
Never gets seen.
You want people in front of your kids that have played the game at a high level, that know how to translate to them how to, execute on the field. And that includes film. No one watches film.
Nobody, yeah.
They don't have the resources nor the funding to, pay for the subscription even.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is a lot of people overlook it because classroom hours are boring.
Yeah.
You don't get Instagram views on classroom and watching film. A lot of people do it for the
clicks right now.
Absolutely. Get on the field and do your thing. I'm sorry, that's not football.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You've got to be able to train these kids. And kudos to Coach Coco. There's a way to watch film. You can't just throw film on and watch it. There's a way to watch it. And, I've seen it firsthand. 2-3 hours at a time,
Yeah.
But to that point, it's highly effective. So your method of explaining to the kids, the micro part of it, breaking down individual matchups and
what
pointing
to look
out
for,
to that,
right?
exactly,
formation recognition, yeah.
All of that stuff comes into major play when developing these kids, and it's just for me, having been in the game for so long, it's something. It's like a lost art almost.
Yeah.
The coaching aspect. So.
Because teams, right, you could build super teams. And I've seen it 2 years, perfect example. And this isn't throwing shade on anybody, right? Last year, we had 3 14U teams. One was with Norco Jaff, one was with Eastvale, one was with the Ducks, right? We ended up having 4 of the top 5 teams in the state at the 14 level, the kids we spread up from our program. But when we first met with the Ducks, right, meeting with Keefe, Matt, Larry, and those guys, they said, we don't we're not here to develop kids. We want the it factor guys. And me and Coco could not believe that. And they said, sorry, we can't put the funding behind your guys' 14U team like we do our other teams and fly you guys around because you don't have the it factor guys. You guys aren't going to win, right? So fast forward, we go out to the Northern Hospitality, right? We beat Mississippi Wolfpack, who won the championship the year before. We beat some really good teams. And then we end up, there's not enough games on the schedule for us, so we have to play the Dream Chasers team. And everyone's saying, you guys are going to get killed. You guys don't have the athletes. You guys have white boys and Asian kids. And it's like, white boys, I don't know what their mindset is. It's like, I played with some really good freaking white guys like Toby Gerhart and Clay Matthews and Brian Cushing. And to them, it was like, you don't have the talent to compete with our Dream Chaser team. And we played them, right? And it was like, you guys don't have a chance to be able to even be on the same field as these guys. You're junior All-American kids. And we kept stressing them the importance of the development, the football IQ, putting them in position to be successful. And because they were coached up and they were developed and they knew their assignments, right? That was the first time Keefe probably never scored. All right. And this isn't to say names and things like that, but we goose-egged them, you know, and that team was better athletes than us. Like the running back they had was 6'2", 200 pounds. Like their team was loaded, but it just shows when you could take these undersized guys and the guys who don't have the prototype size body and you coach them up and you develop them and you give them the information to the test, right? You could go shut down a national powerhouse team who has no coaching.
And you've done it before. My son, Tim, he wears that loss at COVID on his sleeve.
Right.
They got their asses whooped.
Yeah.
You guys, and then you and I have had the discussion prior to that, the team with Samurai and everyone. That, to me, that was one of the most
really
entertaining football games I've seen. The Ducks had an amazing team, and you had a group of guys that people would consider
misfits, just
exactly,
kind of thrown together.
The leftovers, right?
Yeah, we just grabbed them from Pop Warner, Junior All-American.
And the way that game went, back and forth the way it did. It was, to me, that's when I knew, hey, they're doing something right over there.
I appreciate that, yeah.
And it was just fun to watch. But again, to that point, the Tim, if you're watching, you guys got your ass whooped that day, Bubba. You and John.
And that was a physical game, you know, and we always say we could control bigger, stronger, conditioned IQ, you know, and not every time we're going to get the Jimmys and Joes, right? So we've never had the best players in the cream of the crop, right? Usually at the 14 level, they go to Les, they go to the Ducks, and then kind of we get the guys that get cut or the guys we kind of develop through our program. So I always tell people it's not about playing for a super team. If you look at Corey Foreman, he played for Junior All-American, Corona Chargers, came to the academy, right? We coached him. He was the #1 player in America. You look at Damani Jackson, who played Pop Warner, went to Mater Dei, was the #1 player in the country until he got hurt, right? And you go to A.J. Duffy, who went to IMG in Florida State. Look at Julian Sane, who went to Carlsbad. You look at Josh Hunter, who was a captain for the team for Mater Dei. I could go down a long list of guys who didn't have the opportunity to play for these super teams, but what they did really well was, right, they bought into the process, they worked their butt off, we developed them here in the academy, and then we gave them the football IQ standpoint, so when they did go on to Mater Dei, they became the captains of the team. If you look at the last couple of captains from Mater Dei, with Josh Hunter and now Simi, who was a captain for Mater Dei as an underclassman, you know, and even at these other schools, right, the Mateos or the Asa Kingstons or the Peyton Woodyards or the Dutches, we've done a really good job to not saying take the leftovers, but to be able to sharpen every tool that we needed to sharpen in their toolbox, the things that we could at least control. And when we get to watch them and get to send them off to the Centennials and these other schools, it's really cool to see or get those phone calls from the coaches, from the strength coaches to their coaches saying, man, this guy, like, you guys really did a good job on him. And I speak about it, but it's cool to kind of sit back now 10 years in the game and go and look at guys that probably shouldn't have made it, a 5'7" Josh Hunter, you know, or undersized guys that really were able to go out there and really show what our program's about, because it's easy to brag about a guy who's already a perfect specimen, right? But what do you do for the undersized guy who's just a program guy who overachieves and accomplishes things? Those are the guys I really hang my hat on.
You know, Jordan, and talking on that too, I think that was the main thing that got me to gravitate to Winter Circle, because I was really on the outside, and I even did some training here for about 3 months working with the linebackers, and I think we just said hello a couple times, but everything that I looked at and everything that I did is, once I got to the circle, all the things I heard about never took place, right? Oh, they get all the best guys, they got all this and that, and I was going like, man, when I saw everything was just elevation, was progression, was development, and really there was not a whole lot of what I thought was superstars here.
And we always talk about that because you were outside looking in for a while, you know, and it's like, for me, it's like, I don't hear what really goes on outside, because if you're not a part of what we do, I don't entertain it, because we're here all day. We work 12-hour shifts, you know? So for you to come in, it's like, man, I heard X, Y, and Z about you guys, and I heard this, and I heard that. And it's like, I'm still yet haven't seen it. Like, all you guys do, and this isn't bragging, it's like, they go to school, you train them, you feed them, you give them nutrition, you coach them up, and you go play football.
You go play football.
Yeah.
But I like the whole idea. Like I said, man, this is truly the ground of the crown. You know, he literally, in a sense, and being here, it's awesome because Jordan, that's what you want to do. You know,
Correct.
You thrive on that challenge.
I love it.
And we all thrive on that challenge. You know, so when I look at what we're doing right now, we're really climbing a damn mountain. You know, it's not a snowball going down and getting big. It's us climbing the mountain. You know, and what's cool about Winter Circle, I don't see none of the guys getting up to the mountain and celebrating. I see them going to the mountain and putting two hands to bring everybody else back up to the mountain with them.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty. And we had a meeting when Jordan says we're going to have a meeting and I get to meet you guys. You don't know how happy I was when I seen that it was a group of Polynesians walking in. I was like, man, this is what Coco's about. So what's cool about, I think, Winter Circle is just the name itself. You know, that's people don't like that, and I recognize that. But you can be any kind of creed, any kind of breed, and be a part of the Winter Circle family. And we're I said, there's no doors in a circle, man, but we open up pretty wide. And the only way you're going to get yourself out of the circle is just you don't fit. You know, you don't want to get progressed. You don't want to get developed. You know, or you're caught in your own self, because this is truly a family. And I like you guys as kids. If once they're here in the circle itself, they're going to be surrounded by all the kids that have the same motive, the same mindset. So you can't do nothing but go to the crown, because that's where we're all heading there.
Norm, yeah.
And Jordan gives us that opportunity to really try to do something brand new, like doing the Zooms, and then let it pan itself out and see, okay, how do we measure it after a year, after a trip around the sun? Well, let's do more Zooms. But I like to say everything that we do here at the Circle has gone through trials and a lot of errors. And at this point right now, there's not a lot of errors, because we're pretty solid in what we do. You guys coming in here with an established program. I've been coaching for 47 years, and for Jordan to be able to just sit down and open his ears and say, yeah, I'll listen to this. And I've seen him do that to everybody. And that's the beauty of it, because we don't stop learning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, just to piggyback on, what you said earlier, you don't need to have all the best players, right? Just got to have the right ones.
The right
ones.
guys.
And
because I wasn't the best player, I just worked.
Yeah, you just worked. That's all you know. And even with the youth stuff, like when we built the Monarchs, right? We just brought Pop Warner kids who bought into the system. Parents trusted the process.
Yeah.
Right. We built a solid foundation. They were coachable. Didn't have any bad habits, and that's like the best thing for a coach.
100%.
Right, and then we go into playing the Ducks in the Super Bowl, beat them 21. Literally, we played against LA Chiefs, who were number 4 in the nation, shocked them, got our team ranked in the nation. It's like, but the main thing is we kept our kids grounded.
Yeah,
it didn't matter. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, you guys are ranked, but that's not what we're here for. Right, and
it's not about being a 9U best player. That's what bothers me the most about being in this youth football stuff, is when I have parents come in and say, well, my kid's the number 2 ranked player in the country at 9U or 10U.
Correct.
And it's like, he doesn't know what he doesn't know.
Exactly.
And what I mean by that is, can he get on the board and draw up something? Like that means he still needs to learn. So it's okay to not throw a label on he's a ranked player and this or even a national ranked team. Like I don't like that's so silly to me at this age group where it's like we've had some of our best players play on just local teams that we coached them.
The craziest question I get, being, oh, you played at Mater Dei, right, Coach? Like your son, is he going to go to Mater Dei? How am I supposed to know? He's only 12. My other son's only 14. Yeah, he may be doing good now, but he might suck tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like you got to be realistic.
For sure.
You might end up at Tustin.
Yeah, I don't live through my garbage. Like you just got to take it day by day and just trust the process and just let the kid be a kid and let the professionals and the experts do
But
their
I think
job.
that's the biggest thing at this age is a lot of parents, because they've never been through there or living through their kids, so they feel like they have to be on
Absolutely.
a super team or they have to do it for the likes or they have to do it for clicks, and they try to get these videos and they have to go and try to create this facade of who their kid is. And I always say, if you're just the kid with his head down in the lab working day by day, all these youth superstars, and we know who they were back in the day, where they were on this commercial, they had that, or they were pumped up and they had 100,000 followers. And it's like, what happened to those kids?
Correct.
That's a great point. And there's tons of them that had 100,000 views under their under the radar spotlight as youth, and they slowly fall off. But the guys that
They
remain
lose
in
the chip
play,
on that shoulder.
those are the guys that are
Yes.
keep their head down, working hard every day, not worrying about the views and everything. But one other thing that I wanted to touch upon for us, especially with our decision to come here, people need to know that this is a safe zone for their kids. James and I talk about it all the time. A lot of people have these misconceptions about things being cutthroat over here and it being about the money. It's the total opposite, and otherwise we wouldn't be here, right?
Yeah.
We had some long discussions about what our next step was, and the fact that you were willing to open your door to us and for Coco to accept us speaks a lot in itself.
It's a two-way street.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So for whoever's watching, please, if you have questions about your kids coming here potentially to train, don't let your pride or these misconceptions be the reason why your son misses out on a potential blessing like being here. I've been, in this business for a long time, and trust me, the videos and all that plays a major component of the business aspect. But it's just that business is business. The bottom line is your kid needs to be working his ass off to be able to be ready for the next level and perhaps have an opportunity at a free education in high school. And I keep impressing upon it, and you just touch on it. The parents are more gung ho about football than the kids. Some of these kids don't even want to play football. It's being pushed on them, and it's just sad to see. And those are the parents that are complaining, aren't happy. They've always got something to say, and it's unfortunate because they tend to block those blessings for the kids. The development
more
aspect.
times than none. Yeah.
And just to piggyback on that as well, growing up, my parents from the islands, right? In order for me to get to where they wanted me to go, they had to have somebody inside, another Polynesian that they felt comfortable with.
Yeah.
That's just our culture.
Yeah.
And so when you told me, hey, we're going to have a podcast, I was like, oh, good. Now they could see our face. Like, we're here.
Yeah.
Right? If you don't feel, of course you don't feel comfortable with what you don't know.
Exactly.
But don't let that be an excuse, like Tim said. So for those that know who we are, they have our number.
Yeah.
Just give us a call. It's straightforward.
Yeah.
You don't need to go into details. What about this? That? If we're here, that's all that matters. That should speak for itself.
And I always say we can't help you if you're not a part of what we're doing.
Correct.
Right? And for us, we do so many things free for the community because we just want people to get to know us and who we are, right? We talk about for the spring ball, right? $1,500 program that we're giving to everyone for free. Right, because my mom was a single mom who had me at 18 years old, right? So it's like I didn't have a lot of opportunities to go and pay to do different things like that. So, like, we're trying to create these opportunities and invite everybody in through things that we do as much as possible. Like a spring ball, this is your chance for people to come to our program and meet us and not have to worry about how much stuff costs, right? So many people want to get put on before putting the work in. Well, how you get put on is by putting the work in. Right. So being here and having free spring ball, it's not about the dollar amount. It's about just opening our doors to literally everyone in Southern California, because we have people come from San Diego, the high desert, LA, Orange County. And our job is let's invite everybody in here so they just can see what we're about. Right. And I always say, once you're a part of what we're doing here at Winter Circle, it's very hard for you to leave because you now get to see who the people are that you're working with. Right. You get to see how much they care about your kids. And the product will speak for itself.
Correct.
You know?
Yeah.
No, absolutely. We speak about it a lot too, like the culture that exists here. A lot of the kids that we've lost over the years are the kids that have parents that don't want to put their kids through the fire.
100%.
But I'm sorry,
try to protect
football is not a sport for the weak.
Yeah.
You cannot protect your kid, right? So if JB's yelling at your kid and you can't handle it, 9 times out of 10, they're going to quit the team.
Yeah.
It's the saddest thing I've seen ever, because you want your kids to be able to go through those trials and
how you grow.
Exactly. It builds character, right?
Yeah.
It gets you ready for the next level. Well, they've got a surprise coming when they get to high school. If they even, last in a sport or get to play somewhere at a high level, they're going to have, coaches putting their foot up their ass, just to put it nicely. You're going to have coaches yelling and screaming. You can speak to the college level.
Yeah.
They're your best friends in recruiting. First day of camp.
Done.
You're the enemy.
And that's what our goal is, right? And I always say, if you want your kid here and you want to be a part of something that's real, it isn't about the money, because we're going to coach every single kid hard as possible. Because the only way I know how to coach is how I've got coached, right? And I played for the Gruden, I played for Sean McVay, the Pete Carrolls, the 6 Super Bowl coaches, and it's like, that's what it looks like at the next level. Every parent wants their kid to play for a Division I top program in high school and make it onto D1. But a lot of them don't want to allow their kids to go out there and figure it out themselves and go see what it really looks like, because probably they're going to get their feelings hurt.
Yeah.
Maybe their kid isn't that. And if it isn't that, at least you have the information and say, okay, how do I fix this? How could I develop my kid so he has an opportunity to see what it looks like, and then fix what we need to, so then he can get that shot to go play at a big time program. But a lot of parents I see kind of handicap their kids, and they go to programs based on, do they know a coach? Can they manipulate the system? Do they have a friend? There's a lot of things that parents try to kind of handicap their kids on. It's like, you're not the one that's going to play. You have to let your kid go and let it. I don't have a kid on the team, right? So for me, it's like, I'm not going to spend 12 hours a day working and coaching on the weekends to lose a football game. Before, it was daddy ball. Oh, these coaches are daddy balling. Now, if you come to a program that doesn't have a lot of dads in the program, just coaches, well, now you get a fair evaluation of who your kid is, right? And the only way you can really see who your kid is if you allow him to go and play football.
No, absolutely. It's a very interesting point you touched on right now. There's no dads out here.
Yeah.
And so that, allows for one of two things to happen. Either the kid's going to get a fair shot, or he's going to get exposed. Let's be real. There's not a parent there on the staff to hide him or move him, shuffle him to another position so that he can stand out.
Yeah.
And
because you have a kid on the team, but you're not coaching. You're letting him. You're trusting him with us.
And you got to trust the process. And that's been we spoke on it earlier. The trust factor of it. I trust and believe in what James is doing, and I've seen and trust in what you guys are doing, because I've been rubbing elbows with you for years now.
For sure.
And you got to respect what you guys have done here. So kudos to that. But on a personal note, it's always been because we all got wives, and
100%.
Wives are going to baby their babies.
Yeah.
And at some point you got to tell the wife hey, he's going to have to go out and put his foot to the fire and see what happens. He's got to go build a name for himself. You can't save him. And with our wives, they trust the process. There's been some crazier methods done as they were growing up.
Yeah.
And but much to that point, they've trusted the process and really allow the kids to grow in that way, and that shows on the field. Really, our kids have been allowed to perform at a high level because of that. So,
100%. And Coco, with you, right? You coached college level, Mount Sac, won championships there. You did Pasadena. You coached D3 football. Kind of for you, what is it that you're looking for, or at least want the kids to get out of playing youth football, right? People say, oh, you're a youth football coach, right? I could coach at any level, right? You could coach at any level. We all have knowledge to coach high school. I could care about coaching at those other levels. I love coaching the youth level because I love the process and I love the journey. I feel like the foundation is set at this youth level, and I feel like there's such bad football and coaching that's going on at the youth level that it sets these kids up for failure, not just as an athlete or a football player, but almost as a human being, you know, because you can't just take the easy way or take shortcuts. Like, I feel like the way you do one thing is how you do everything, right? Attention to details. We have kids that go to the academy. You wear polos here. You have a dress code. You have a 3.0 GPA requirement, right? You show up to practice early. You start behind the line and you finish through the line, right? Those are all things that are going to carry over, not just in football, but in life, right? So when you came to our program, you seen kind of that type of structure, and you coaching youth football, because you get calls every year to go coach college football, right? What's keeping you here versus going out and taking one of those higher level jobs?
I would say what keeps me here, Jordan, is the winner circle mentality that the kids have. Because once they get here and they're a group, they got one place to go in their whole, you can see it. They're all going forward. And if a kid is hitting three reps and that's his max, the whole gym's going crazy for those 3 reps that he got.
Yeah.
And there's nothing better than that. And to me, there's nothing better than seeing the young kids develop. And I've done a lot of coaching clinics in my life and do a lot of Pop Warner stuff. Junior All-American, the not the real football stuff.
Yeah.
Right? This is as close as you're going to get to real football. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking about like college football. I've seen high school programs that don't do what we do.
Not even close,
and
yeah.
We don't coach down. You don't like no kind of excuses. I mean, everything that you're doing is going to get these kids ready. And I say, why? Like a parent asked me, why should I go to Winter Circle? Because when you're done, your son will have to be able to make a choice of the school that he wants to go to, not what's been offered to him, but really what he wants to go to. Like, you guys went to Tustin. That's where you wanted to be. And look at now, you're happy. But that's what we're providing right here. And when I'm done coaching here at Winter Circle, I'm done coaching football the rest of my life. This is where I want to be, because I know when I go home, I've made an impact on a young kid, and not just one. I mean, everywhere I turn around, there's nothing but young kids. That's how come I'm going to watch the way I talk. You know, I cursed the other day, and you know,
I heard you in the video and you cut it off. Fauja.
Yeah, but
right? Because I feel you. That was awesome.
But I swear, I coached 6 years prior to this, and I thought I was on my way out, and I never went home really happy after every practice. And I was coaching on the #1 public school in the nation with Matt Logan, a legend. You know, he gave me all the freedom to do what I wanted to do, him and Dan Herring. But that doesn't make a person happy, right? Man, I spent 3 days in Dallas and knew this is where I wanted to be. And when it was all done, Jordan didn't handcuff me to do anything. Any idea that I thought I want to do it, he gives me the opportunity. And then the platform here, I mean, you can't ask for anything better. There's nothing better than this right here. You know, I tell all my friends, all my Poly friends, all my African-American friends, all the Mexican friends, everybody. What are you doing, Coco? Man, I'm at Winter Circle. What do you do there? Man, we work from the ground to the crown, and those kids get to pick a school of choice. I think that's just the most comfortable thing that you could tell a parent. Yeah. When they're all done here, he's going to be able to pick the school that he wants to go to.
And that was the ultimate goal, creating this, right? I never wanted to be a trainer, never wanted just to be a business owner, right? We wanted to pay it forward to impact the next generation. And I always go back to this with every guy that comes through our program is, imagine if we would have known then what we knew now, right? A lot of us wouldn't have been sitting in this room, you know, because we went through it ourselves and we failed and we went through all these different things and we gained information and knowledge. And I tell all these guys that graduate college, it's like, what are you doing next? Real estate. What are you doing this? I'm doing that. I'm doing that. It's like, why? We just have a PhD in the process. And what I mean by that is you have a master's, you have a PhD on how to go through the youth process, how to go to high school, the combine, film study, recruiting, how to pick a college, how to go through the picking an agent, all these different things. And you're so valuable to the next generation. Why would you just waste that and just, okay, I'm going to go and work in a warehouse. Yeah. I'm going to go sell real estate. I always say for us, it's spiritual money. Right? What keeps me coming back every single year, because for us, yeah, we charge $600 for the program, but we give you back $800 in training. We buy you 3 jerseys, $1,000 a day to have a nice practice. There's no money in this, but the spiritual money, meaning I watch a kid who had nothing go through this process, and we teach him something, and he earns a $120,000 scholarship to a private school. Right now, these kids going through high school, we had over $22 million go out last year in NIL deals to certain kids, and it's like watching you from being in a 1-bedroom apartment to now you over here buying your mom a house at 19 years old. Like the feeling I get to know is like we were a part of you changing your family's trajectory of their whole life, and to break generational curses, whatever that may be. Because for me, I was the first kid in my family to go to college, right? Now I expect my kid to go to college because I know how to get there, right? And if we could continue to get these kids geared up to go to get a good education in high school, to go to college, to be able to go and manage their money or pick a career they want to do and come back and have their kid do it. Now we're able to break these generational curses. And I always say it's bigger than just football. Right? We wouldn't be doing this if it was just football. Correct. Right? And the kids have to use us, but we get paid in spiritual money, meaning I feel good when I leave here and practice from 6 to 8 p.m. I get home at 9 o'clock after showing up at 7 a.m. to open up the building. Well, I spend more time with their kids than I do my family. Right? But I feel so good going home. My wife is like, go coach again. You know, you're coming home happy. You know, you're coming home in a good mindset, and it's not toxic. It's not negative. And I get paid in spiritual money by donating our time, right, for youth football. And people say, well, you guys do it for, there's no money in coaching youth football, right? That goes to facilities, fields, refs, everything that.
We know it, building the Monarch. We saw behind the scenes.
Right, we spend our own money, right? Kids who can't fly out.
Job, yeah.
Yeah, and kids that. Like some kids that can't fly out, we pay for that. They stay with us. And for me, it's not about the money, but it's more about changing a kid's entire life and outlook and giving him the answers to the test, not just for the fall, right? A lot of youth football programs, you play for them and you start season in August and you get done in November. We don't do that. I always tell our kids, I'm going to be with you until you get married. I'm waiting for that invitation. When you get married, you want coach to be there at the wedding because like this is somebody who's a part of my life. Right? I get emotional talking about it because it's like we see kids who go through these different walks of life and different backgrounds. They don't know what they don't know coming into the program.
Correct.
But by the time they leave, they should want to be a good husband, a father, right? Whether it's a business owner, whether I have kids now getting baptized, you know, and going to Jesus Christ. I think that's amazing to say, Coach, I see you going through this walk in your life with Christ. Like, why'd you do that? Because there's so much toxic and nasty stuff that goes on in this world. The only way to make it through is being centered in Christ, right? Mm-hmm. So not even just from a football standpoint, but from a spiritual standpoint, from a business standpoint, for me, what changed my life, I had a coach who believed in me. Right? That changed my whole entire life and my family's life. That changed my sister's life because I was able to share with them the knowledge that I gained in my process to help them get to college. Now being a husband and being a father and being a business owner, we have so many kids here that just want a mentor or somebody in their life that they can look up to just to show them how to do it the right way. Right? And if you're looking at the last podcast we did with Damian Stafford, he said, I reacted like this on the field because my mother raised me and I was the only man in my house, so no man's going to come at me and talk to me crazy. He says, I just didn't know then, right? When my coach yelled at me, I snapped back at him and told him, shut the F up, blah, blah, blah. No one talks to me like that. I'm the man in this house. Well, he just didn't have a father figure in his life to show him the right way. I feel like we're a lot of these kids' fathers, right? If they say it or not, but they watch what we do. They learn from our behavior, and if we go and respect our wives, where they see us with our kids, they see us do the right things, as them, I hopefully goes through their brain is like, this is what it's supposed to look like if they don't have that type of person in their life. And I said, that's winter circles more than football. It's on how to behave and how to conduct yourself. And obviously me starting this at 24 years old, there's mistakes I made, right? But as you go through, you're supposed to mature.
Correct.
I didn't know how to run a business. I didn't know how to do these different things because I never had someone to show me, right? But the only way you could go through these things is learn through your trials and error, through your mistakes. But now 10 years later at 35, I see everything a completely different way now because I have a kid, right? The way I used to cuss at kids versus now it's like, oh, do I want someone cussing at my kid, right? I'm trying to, as myself, you should always be trying to work on yourself. But I know for us, we're surrounding them by the right people and the right team and the right circle to hopefully one day go and be productive in not just football, but society.
And, much respect to all the volunteers out there that give of their time, like everyone here. It's, a lot of people don't even appreciate that,
Yeah, I know. That's the
one
hard
thing
part,
that people
right?
don't realize is we spend more time with these kids than we do with our own families. And for myself,
Shout out to our wives.
Exactly. That's where I was going with this. Fortunate enough to have Brandy at home to help raise these boys and keep them grounded.
Yeah.
And fill in where I'm absent because Lord knows we've spent a lot of time when we were in Oceanside. I'm in Riverside, so we're driving 3-4 times a week to Oceanside, and she's out here holding it down for the kids.
Yeah.
Driving Big John to Les over at the Buckeyes. We've got Munch in Oceanside. We've got Tim at Centennial at the time. So she, helps us juggle and has been a major component to our success. And but a big thing is having the support at home, and more importantly, thank you to all the volunteers that give their time.
No, yeah. Tim touched base on just having a solid foundation at home.
100%.
And building what you guys are building here takes a family.
It does.
It
really does.
I'm stuck on the freeway, my wife and I, 2 hours coming from San Diego, and we got families that are coming 3 hours.
Yeah.
So, for those that are watching, there's a reason behind it all.
Yeah, the why.
Yeah, that's the why. Like, we don't even have to have a conversation. If you just heard what we just said, that should speak for itself.
100%.
So, yeah, shout out to my wife.
Man.
Sometimes I catch myself saying, babe, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
Because she's just there, and she's just holding it down, and she knows the purpose behind it all.
100%.
My goal before I leave this earth is I just want to make sure my kids,
do better than us.
Are better than us. That's it.
Yeah.
And I can go to sleep and peacefully go, and we appreciate being here, and that's why we're here.
Yeah.
I was just waiting for that fall football program. I was here 2019.
I remember, yeah.
We had a meeting, and I was like, oh, man, I see the football program going up. It's like, what you have going on, it's kind of hard to explain because there's so much you guys have to offer. So, like, in one sentence, and I can't spend hours on the phone talking to these people, I said, look, if you know what IMG Academy is, this is the youth version of it.
For sure.
Simple as that.
Amen.
So,
kids come here and get better.
Yeah. And I always tell kids how do you pick a youth football program, right? And right now, a lot of parents, and I see it, and it's hard not to get frustrated, right? We have guys out here like yourself, whether it's former guys like Stephen Pyatt coming back or Damian Stafford, right? Kelsey Young Stanford, like guys that we have here that are volunteering to go and coach these teams up. And it's like, you guys come and see what we do, and you choose to go to another league. And it's like, I just scratched my head, and it's like, is that youth football trophy that you think, or the Instagram likes, or the media, the posts, what is it that kind of, how should kids and parents out there pick a youth football program, right? And I always say, you want to pick a youth football program, one, who is coaching your kid, right? Because coaching your kid, there's coaching football, and then there's coaching them on how to conduct themselves in life, right? And then two, right, are you developing, are you getting better? And is it a 6 month program, or is it a year-round program, right? Because there's a lot of kids that go play for a team this year, and once playoffs are done, or Super Bowl or national championships done, that coach is on to the next team, right? For us, it's a year-round program. Even let's just say our 14U team, right? They come in, they go through our spring ball, they go through summer, they go through season. As soon as we get done with national championship, we're right back to 7-on-7. we're right back into shadow days, picking a private school. We're right back into inviting these coaches into our program to evaluate these kids. And then now we're going to negotiate and find them the right school and high school to go to. And that goes all the way up until we're still going through it now for 4 verts, right? We're going with even the modern day change with Frank leaving, new coaches coming in, having the president of modern day call and say, Jordan, we can't lose your kids, right? We understand how important Winter Circle Prep Academy kids have been for the modern day program and the development. We got to make sure we do right by your guys' kids, right? So for the kids that are in our program, it's not just a seasonal thing. Like the coaches that are here with them, whether you're 14, you going to high school, we're with you the whole year, a trip around the sun, or if you're 12 going to 13, you're going from season to 5v5 or 7-on-7 to college trips to private school trips to spring ball again to summer ball, right back to fall. Like once you're a part of our program, you don't have to guess what your kids should be doing. The kids that we have coming to our program, we want this to be their final destination, right? Once you're here, you're here. Right? It's very rarely do you have kids that come to Winter Circle and choose to leave elsewhere. And probably if they do leave, it's because they wanted to do their own thing and we had to tell them no one's bigger than the program, right? So I always tell the people who are watching this right now, like pick a program where you could go and plant yourself as a seed and you could have people around them water that plant for years to come. And for us, we're not just a youth football program. We have right now, you got Nazir White here, the #1 player in America, working out. There's guys that are coming back. Damani Jackson's now back home from spring ball from Alabama. He's here training. Like this is a program going from youth football to high school to college. We have guys that were here doing the NFL draft combine training, right? How to pick an agent, how to find an agent, right? Going to an NFL team. And that's beyond some people's thought process of when picking a football team. But I see some people who come in and see what we're doing, and it's like, oh, we're still going to go sign up over here. And it's like,
you have the answers right in front of your face.
It's right in front of you.
Let's be real, though. If
it's silly to me.
Structure scares people, too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's hard for some people to see past the structure, and for some, they don't see the glitz and glamour here.
It's silly.
There's no instant gratification in going to work hard, right?
It's like squatting.
Exactly.
You got to do it, and eventually the numbers will
You may
come.
hate it,
Yeah.
but you got to do it, and it's going to improve your game somehow, right? But for a lot of parents, there's no sexiness in hard work. They want the instant gratification, like I said, and the instant views.
And that's so fake.
That. Yeah, no, it is.
Like, I don't care about your likes or like if you want under the radar, Ollie's going to be here. If you want the private schools, they're going to be here. If you want Greg Biggins and Adam Gordon from Rival 247, they're going to be here and they've been here for 10 years. But you have to put in the work, and not everyone's going to USC.
Right.
There's a school for everyone.
Exactly, and you know that's a great point to touch on, because everyone wants their kids to go to the sexy school. Well, your son may not be a sexy player. He doesn't fit the mold of a school, but there's nothing wrong with going to Cal Berkeley or
I always
Washington.
say it's not D1 or die. Right? Even if you go to Azusa Pacific, who doesn't have a school, but like a D2 school, even if you go to a NIA school, is your kid leaving off your couch once he graduates, or is he working at the gas station?
Right.
Can we find a school for him to go to if it's Southern Utah? Is your kid leaving your house to go network for 4 more years of college to figure out what life looks like?
Right. I mean, I always tell my kids about where Jerry Rice came from, or Terrell Owens. They didn't go to big schools, but they worked hard, and their work ethic helped them propel themselves to be, at the very top of their game. And so,
that
you don't
chip
have
on
to
their
go.
shoulder was huge.
No, absolutely.
Even Hines Ward.
I go back to
not the fastest receiver.
And I always say, personally, a lot of things I do is because of my own journey, right? Myself, I was a number 3 linebacker in the country, went to the number 1 school in the country at the time, signed to the number 1 recruiting class, and I was there for 3 years all the way up to my senior year, and I wasn't happy because I want to be on the football field. Cool, I got all these Rose Bowl rings and things like that, but then when I went to a D2 school and I was able just to go play football, the guys who chose to stay at USC, I just did it with Chris Calippo the other day, he stayed at SC and didn't even get a shot on the NFL roster. I left and went to a D2 school. I was an All-American, and I had 28 schools reach out to do a combine with me, and I was able to at least go sign a practice squad deal, $150,000 with the Redskins, right? Get paid $500,000 to go get a year with them. Out of the 3 years I was in the NFL, I got 1.5 years credited in the NFL, right? So I left and went to a school where I was able to play and use my talents versus sitting at a SC, which a lot of guys stayed when Pete Carroll left. They stayed there because they were so scared to leave a SC that they just stayed there because they thought SC was going to get them where they wanted to get.
Yeah, no, especially with Chris, because Chris, I remember him being so highly recruited at Servite. And, him going to SC was a big thing. But,
DJ Shoemate, sheesh.
Man. And it somehow just, for some people, just doesn't pan out. And, you want to be on the field is the bottom line.
That's being on the field.
You're going to, get the experience. So it's.
And you go back to Stephen Paya. Right, came from Tonga, went JUCO.
Snow College.
Yes, Snow College. Ended up going the JUCO route and getting drafted number 53 overall. Damian Stafford, who went the JUCO route, ended up being a top safety drafted, captain for the Tennessee Titans, right? And it's like, just because you might not go to the school you're at, or even if you go there and things happen, coaches change, right? A lot of things happen as you throughout your process. If you continue to fall back on your foundation, and I always say the foundation that the kids get by being at Winter Circle and the Corona Bulls will be so strong and solid. It doesn't matter if you have to transfer, a new coach comes in, whatever, you're going to have the answers to the test because you could always go back to, I know I have to get up at 6 a.m., I have to work out, I have to do my job, I have to watch film, and I have to compete and outwork somebody. But a lot of high-profile, five-star guys out of our area right now are so caught up on the clicks and going to these certain schools, which is why a lot of our Southern California or California guys go, and it's like, why is he transferring? What's this? Well, he's never been challenged or tested and never went through adversity before because he's been told he was a dude from 11 years old, 12 years old, 13, and that chip on your shoulder that keeps you working, a lot of them never had that chip on the shoulder. They've just been given opportunities. Yeah. And I see that at the youth level. A lot of them are doing it for the likes and the clicks versus really developing and being pushed and being taught how to do it the right way. That's going to take them so much further in life.
And,
I think one of the most attractive things here at Winter Circle is, and for you parents that are looking for a place, this is really the place. Because I remember when I was at Mount Sac, one of the things I used to always tell the kids when we recruit was that there's a college out there that has your name on it. If you go to school and you do all the right things that you're supposed to do, I got to be able to hurt this finger a little bit by dialing all these numbers to find that college for them. What's cool here about Winter Circle is on the off season, you got a lot of Division I coaches want to come in here to say hello to Jordan.
It's a destination.
Jordan knows a lot of people. And then who are the coaches that are involved that's going to be able to relay your student athlete's name? I think we have that here to be able to provide that.
And sorry to cut, just today you had the president of Mater Dei call, Lane Kiffin, who was my coach in college, Coach Sarkeesian, my coach in college at Texas, Eric Bieniemy, the new assistant head coach at Orange. These are just guys that I played for. When one day it's just like, I'm in town, what's going on? It's like, and people don't see that behind the scenes because I don't post all the bullshit. Yeah. I'm not worried about that because when I was worried about that and I was taking kids to college camps and all this and getting them early offers, the chip on the shoulder that they had left. So they're like, oh, I got it made. I got offers early, and they stopped working. And I watched it with the guy, Aiden Breland, last year, the number one D tackle in the state of California, top guy. Simi came, who was so hungry, and took his spot and took his captain spot for Mater Dei because you got it easy. So that's why, for me, I stopped going and all the clout. I stopped doing that because it's like, bro, if you get it this early, then you're going to shut down the work ethic. All the extra workouts you should be doing, the attention to detail, taking your protein, the extra conditioning that got you there, you stop doing because it's like, oh, I'm good. Coach will get me wherever I want to go, or I'm already set up. I don't need to put in the work. Sorry to cut you off, but I just was thinking about that today about guys like, I'm getting these calls and it's like, should I have them come work out during school? And should I have the eighth graders come out and work out for Lane or Sark or EB? And it's like, I don't want to do that no more because it's like, cool, you worked out for them, you got an offer. Then after that, it's like, oh, I'm good. I don't listen to my coach in high school now because I already got an offer. That's just a relationship builder. Yeah. That offer means shit if you don't handle your job. I always tell people with the early offers, what we got with all these kids back, 8 years in a row of Division I offers from SC, That was a relationship builder to build their recruiting profile with rivals in 247. Now that brings in other offers. But if you're not going to continue to put in the work and prove that you're that guy and you kind of put it in cruise control, I'm only doing you a disservice. So the parents out there is like, why aren't they posting all these offers and this anymore? Because all it did was hurt the players, right? Because now they're in cruise control and they think they've done something really when they haven't done anything, right? That was just a relationship builder to get their name out there and to build their profile. But the guys that were hungry, like the Jay Knotts, who's the best running back in college football now, and these other guys I see out there dominating, well, those were the guys who looked at those other guys who got offers and said, fuck him. I'm going to go and outwork them and show him that he's not that good, right? And that's how I was. When I heard Chris Calippo get offered in high school, it was like, who's Chris Calippo? I want him at the camp. I need to go versus him. I need to prove he ain't shit, right? But now it's like so many people want the gratification so early where they put cruise control and it's like, bro, you stop grinding. You stop being hungry. You stop working to what you need to work towards.
That social media, huh?
That social media kills people.
Well, even just listening to you talk. If I'm a parent right now listening to this, I'm going like, wow.
Yeah.
You don't want the offers.
I'm going to take my son to Winter Circle because this guy just rattled off all these names. Imagine some of those coaches that are hanging out over there. 4 years down the road, when he's done going into a senior year, that name's going to pop up again.
And they're all there for him.
They're all there.
But it's just like, do we do it now this early? And I got caught up in the sauce like everyone else, right? You want to build your program up, you want to get these offers, and they're not fake offers. Literally, coach is coming in, he's watching the kid and saying, oh, John, you're 6'3", you're 270 pounds, you're going to turn into a Division I recruit. Well, if now you get that offer in 8th grade, now it's like, oh, I already got Alabama. I got LSU, I got this. Like, why do I need to go put in that extra work on a Saturday or Sunday, right? And I've seen guys that would come back to camp, so we're still in high school. We do a huge camp with Kenny Clark, right? And you got 150 guys here, under the radars here, rivals 247, and our best player, who's the #1 player in the state of California, came out in slides. He's like, I don't need to work versus these guys, I'm the best player. What? You turned down an opportunity to work with Kenny Clark, all-pro, $200 million man, because you didn't have to do this because you already got offers. What made you special was you used to be out there when you were younger with those guys and with the Corey Foremans and with the Mateos and the dudes working because you were just hungry to be with them. Now you get the status and you have all that. You have the 5 stars and it's like, to them, it's like, I don't want to get beat in the rep because I don't want to show I'm weak, I guess, or I could actually get beat. I don't know what it is, but that's why I shut down all the early offers with these guys because I need them to be hungry. I need them to have that chip on their shoulder so they could go and push through that stuff and really earn it versus, oh, I know Jordan who has 12 college coaches in college football at the biggest schools he's played for. I could pick up the phone and do that. So for me, I shut all that down. And it's like, I want to see you work. I want to see you grind. I want to have that chip on your shoulder so we can get you that. But even go back to the youth level, kids are doing it for under the radar videos. Kids are doing it for free battle back plates and gloves. It's like you sold your kid's development instead of going to the right program who could have used your kid the right way and developed them. You went to a program for a $39 back plate for some gloves. That's what was important to you. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah. And it's funny. We've lost some kids over the years because the uniform.
Oh.
Is it battle? Well, it's not battle, but the football uniforms. Okay, we're sorry, we're not coming.
That's insane. Like, come on.
Are you kidding me?
Hey, but you know what happens? 3 years later, they come back.
They always come back.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen the best of them, man. But like the one thing you can take anywhere you go is a hard work ethic.
The foundation is so huge.
Absolutely.
So for us, right, we're building the Corona Bulls. We're week 4 to spring ball. We had started with over 400 kids, right? We cut it down now. Our best practices so far in the last week when we got rid of all the fluff. Yeah. The kids who just wanted to be here for Instagram. Right. And once they tagged us in an Instagram video because their dads are out there, right? And I don't share it, they get up, why didn't you share my kids' video on your platform? I'm not doing it for your kid's highlight film that you put together. True. I want to know who your kid is outside of his highlight films. I want to know who he is when he's getting beat. What's his character? What's his integrity? So I think for us, the coolest thing is to start with 400 kids. And then as we get down to the numbers that we really need, practices got better, right? We eliminated all the fluff and the people who were here for the wrong reasons. We're still looking for players. We're looking for the right kids. And we want the right families, you know. We want people who want to be here for not just the season, but long term.
Right. And, you know, for anyone on the fence out there that watches this, I'd admonish you to come, you know, check practice out. It's a high tempo. Everyone's working hard. And more importantly, everyone serves a role and knows what they're doing. So it's a well-oiled machine. And, again, it comes down to the development that these gentlemen are, you know, preaching to the boys and teaching, instilling in them. I mean, again, we all have better things that we could be doing with our time.
For sure, we
right?
all have businesses,
our families, business matters, but instead we're out here with the children. So please, by all means, if you're interested in, you know, having your kid be developed at a high rate and and you know, be held to the standard, come check it out. Don't come to fucking recruit, though.
Yeah.
Come to check it out.
For sure.
Come with the right intentions.
Right.
And you'll always be welcome. But, you know, it's just this whole youth football world is a blessing and a curse at the same time.
100%.
We can all speak to it. We've seen the light side of it and then the very dark side of it also. And it's just, it's sad to see how it's, you know, kind of gotten worse over the years. But, you know, the one staple that we can all say has been, you know, a place like Winter Circle where kids are still being pumped out and kids are still being developed, ready for high school, and are being able to afford themselves an opportunity to go to college for free.
Amen.
That's the biggest part. Getting that free education.
Yeah.
You know, that's the main thing I preach to our families. And I talk to our players since they were 6, 7, 8U. I tell them, look, man, you're your own business.
Yeah.
I get it. You guys all want to be friends, but no one's going to come and offer you and your friend.
Yeah.
Right? That's the reality.
You can't take your friend with you on a
So, you know, our coaching philosophy is, you know, we balance it out, but we're not trying to, you know, spoon feed these kids and lie to them. We're trying, you know, if we want them to trust us, it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
You know, so we keep it real with the kids. That's the best way to go about it. And, you know, just talking about the environment here, I think that's the biggest part about it.
100%.
There's no youth program that has an environment like this.
Yeah.
You know, like it's beyond.
And we could go down to, like, you got a nutritionist, you have doctors, you have $200,000 with the best equipment, like all that stuff. Yes, we have, but I truly believe it comes back to the coaches and how much they really care about developing these guys, right? And you'll see our teams that are built. There's guys that we cut. We're probably the best guys on other teams, right? But maybe they might not fit what we do, right? And the resources are here from a coaching standpoint. I've been to a lot of youth football practice, but there isn't 45 plus coaches out there on a Saturday coaching guys up, guys who played the position, who play college, who play the NFL. And I think for us, we want to create that community, and the hardest thing to do that is create a community within a community, because you're bringing people from San Diego up to the high desert to LA to Orange County. But the only way to do it is to be genuine and authentic and show that every kid really matters and be able to deliver the message that we want to deliver to these guys. And I know we have a lot of cool stuff coming up from organization events, you know, and if we do go out of state, we have college games we'll go to and we'll take tours, and we'll play out there on those weekends. And those are just bonuses that we do. But the ultimate thing that we're able to provide for these kids, it's a safe environment. It's a great community to be a part of. And the plan for your kid isn't the group's plan. It's an individual approach for each kid. And our goal isn't just a 6 months plan. It's a 6-year plan, right? We want to see these kids go through youth football to high school to college. And if you follow Winter Circle, or if you haven't, you'll see every year we have kids that sign here on signing day, from ESPN to Fox Sports West to different platforms that are here. And the only way we could be successful and continue to do what we do here at Winter Circle is provide a good platform and develop the kids, but have your kids be successful, right? We can't do what we do if your kids aren't successful, right? So if we continue to do what we do and pour into these kids, right, the proof is in the pudding, right? Anything else, coaches?
Yeah, you know, just this past weekend I had talking to a friend. As a matter of fact, we're heading down to San Diego on Wednesday because the captain of our football team passed away. So we're going down to his service, Frank Scott. And he says, Coco, are you going to ever get back to coach at a high level? I says, I'm coaching at the highest level right now in the United States. Really. Seriously, I'm coaching at the highest level right now in the United States for me. And I've been around some good programs, but nothing like this. And we can provide this for the kids. So when they get to the next highest level, it's not going to be like, oh my God. They're going to be used to it. They're recruiting stuff. They're going to be used to all that stuff. It's going to be second nature for them. Yeah. And we're sitting right here and have an opportunity to be a GPS for those young kids like that. I mean, that's truly a blessing.
It is.
That truly is a blessing. I say this all the time. The Lord creates nothing lesser than great. He puts 80 to 140 of them in front of me a Tuesday night, every Tuesday night on the Zoom. I couldn't ask for anything more blessed than that. Yeah. You know, at my age, get to be around those young kids like that and have an impact. That's what it's about.
And I think it just starts from the top, right? It starts within. Even with us as coaches, I have Coach Coco calling me, making sure to keep me accountable.
Yeah, for sure.
Make sure you know, hey, JB, you know the script.
Yeah.
You know your game. He's calling all the coaches. We have Zoom meetings right after that.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, the kids are getting developed. The coaches are too, right?
100%.
So it's a blessing. Yeah. So having someone like Coco be in charge of director of football operations and his knowledge and wisdom in the game, like it's a cheat code.
It really is. Yeah. And our program took off because of, right, you could coach, right, but to have somebody who has his knowledge, but to have the practice scripts ready, to have the Zoom meetings, to have everything, and like you said, he calls as soon as practice is over. I'm sure you guys get the call.
Oh yeah.
Hey, that was good. It's like, oh, thank you, coach. We're good. This is what we need to change. This is what we need to do. And I think with the coaches we have here, there's no egos.
No.
Right? It's like, what can we do better? We all want to do better. Right? We all want to provide the opportunity. And I don't have a kid in the program. He doesn't. And it's cool to hear from you guys who've coached a long time and been a part of a lot of different organizations. And I always ask you guys, what could we do better?
Correct.
You know, and it's like, I know I don't know everything, you know, and so it's like, I want to not only coach from a coach's standpoint, but I also want to know from a parent standpoint, what can we do better for your guys' kids, you know?
Because we don't have no kids on the team.
Yeah. So it's just always hearing from the parents, like, we're okay with feedback. This isn't a dictatorship where it's like, shut up and don't do. No. If there's something we're doing wrong, we want to know so we could go and change it ourselves or hire somebody else on staff so we could go and provide that opportunity to do it at the highest level, you know?
And what program has leaders that do that, right, at a youth level, right? So that just says a lot in itself.
I appreciate that. That's awesome.
Yeah, and just the last thing I'll touch on is, you know, you said it earlier, no one's bigger than the program. It's a very important component to the success of a high-level program. You don't want the parents to have the ability to hold the program hostage.
Yeah.
Because it's, you know, counterproductive to everything we teach. We want these kids to be accountable. We want them to grow into kind young men. And, you know, you don't need the parents to make excuses for them. And when they do, and it doesn't go their way after the discussion with someone, then they hold the kid hostage in front of you. Hey,
yeah,
you don't, you know, I'm gonna take my kid if you don't fucking do this or that.
That's crazy.
And
that
that's
happens.
not football.
That's not football.
That's
yeah.
not football.
You know, that's not football. So
it's just interesting from that standpoint. But again, thank you for the opportunity, fellas. Truly appreciate you guys, and you know what's the opportunity you've afforded us over here.
I appreciate you guys. Shoot, episode 6, Inside the Circle. How to pick a youth football team, how to surround your guys' kids by the right people, and how to do it for the long time, and how to be able to go and trust the process, right? People talk about trusting the process, and it's a hashtag for a lot of people, but really the kids in our program and their parents, they learn how to trust the process. They learn how to let go and cut the cord, and we have the right men and leaders in our program to be able to take your kids to the next level. Subscribe, like, share the video. Love you guys.